Hello everyone, welcome to the Qualifier results stream and the round of 32 Mappool showcase stream. Today I'm joined by Kano and Forz. How you guys doing?
Honestly, Asa, I am very, very tired, but you already know for me that it is 5:30 in the morning. But I'm looking forward to talking about some results and also bringing you a Mappool showcase. How are you, Forz?
Thanks for leading me in. I'm also pretty fine. It's not 5:30 AM for me, thank God. But yeah, otherwise I'm pretty happy and hyped to actually reveal all the seedings and the pool. Yeah,
think a lot of people are really excited for these. I think a big part of that is that a lot of the seeds were kind of not hidden, but they're private until now for the most part, right? So I think a lot of people are not in the know. There's a couple of surprises I'm sure everyone's excited to hear about. And I think with that out of the way, we can mention that the way teams were seeded this year was based on their ranking on each map, averaged out by the mod bracket that they were in. So it's a little bit complicated to explain, but it's not too important. The only thing that matters is really the final seed. So I think without further ado, I think we're good to go with the top seed of OWC 2019, which I think many people would correctly predict. Any guesses? What do you think it is? All right, okay. It's going to be the United States with, again, the first seed. Finished first place last year.
Damn,
And
I
they
actually
did,
thought it was Turkey.
they had some pretty damn good results on each maps individually. A lot of first or top placements, notably on the Hard Rock 2 and DT2.
Yeah, for sure. This team is, as always, United States is just always the strongest team that we've seen in the previous years, and like this result pretty much speaks volumes. You've got the first place on the Hard Rock mod, and then second, and a third. Like, what more can you say about this team? They are just honestly like a monster team.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the numbers all the way on the right are the individual placements on that map in particular, and the number in the next to the mods is their particular ranking on that mod bracket. So United States was actually the best Hard Rock team overall. It's worth also noting for a couple of individual players that are noteworthy in this team. Toy did get both of the best scores on both hidden maps, so very well played by him, as well as Fire Rage being the overall MVP of the qualifier stage by getting the highest possible score out of the maximum possible score you could have. So very well played by him. Forz, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, in general, for a quick analysis of the US team, it's not just that their good performances are pretty good, it's just to clarify, we do have 2 runs for each team. And each run has 4 players of individual scores added together. And we don't differentiate between individual scores, but rather just the total team score. And which team score has which is better is going to be counted. And there are some interesting things to look at, but especially like in the US, you can see that there's almost not a lot of just variance between the first and the second playthrough. For the US, it definitely does end up being the second play being better, but in general, it's like around the 200k difference between the first and the second playthrough, which is probably, I'm not too sure about that one, but it's probably the closest out of any team between both playthroughs, which means that their consistency is really, really high, despite this being a pretty hard map pull if you think about it.
Yeah, actually, while we touch on that, because you did get the stats for how many people upgraded their team scores on their second playthrough. So any particular maps to mention?
If we just talk about in general, we do have out of all the maps, the second playthrough does tend to be better, which seems to be a something we might need to look forward to also using for the next few years, because there was a lot of discussion between having 1 playthrough or just having 2 playthroughs, and the 2 playthroughs definitely helped every team. The interesting thing though about it is there were some maps where the second playthrough helped a lot more than other maps. And an example would be, for example, Eagle Eye Hypersonic. By far, this map, the second playthrough was better for 30 runs, it was better for the second playthrough, while only for 13 runs, it was better on the first one. So there's a huge discrepancy between the first and the second playthrough, the second playthrough just being a lot better by a huge margin. But then there's Chaos King, which has 22 versus 23, for example, which is a lot closer.
Yeah, that one map in particular was quite a big difference. But yeah, we will be moving on now to the second seed, which I think is also pretty predictable. It's going to be the United Kingdom. Again, last year's placing was also second place. Combined in their team, they hold the highest no-mod average and the double time average.
Yeah, UK this year actually have a lot of a roster change. Like they've shook up their roster a fair bit, but they're still proving to be one of the strongest teams in this tournament so far, obviously placing as the second seed and having a very, very dominant no-mod and double time performance. Their Hard Rock, on the other hand, did tank a little tiny bit, as you can see by the 17 there, which is a bit of a surprise, but yeah. Overall, a very, very strong team, despite having such a large roster change this year.
And the MVP for this team would have to go to Blue, who did the best, which he is a rookie this year, so that's very good to see. And if that is all, we will be moving on to the third seed now, which is Poland. Poland, great upgrade from not getting out of groups last year to getting the third seed, so that's very good for them. No particular first places for this team, but just all around good performances.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people last year were a little bit saddened to see their placement being top 32, but yeah, they are proving to be yet another strong team in this tournament, and they do have a second chance, so if they do happen to lose early by some sort of randomness, they have a good chance of making it through to the later stages of the tournament, luckily.
Yeah, Wolf is going to be the MVP for this team. FC'd 7 maps out of 7. Very well.
Yeah, and not to forget, there's also Rexon, who also performed really, really well for the Polish team. In general, the Polish team, I would reckon, is going to be going for quite a deep run this year round.
Sure hope to see that. And
we can definitely look forward to some more Polish memes this year as well, of course. That's something we did miss out on a lot last year.
Boy. I mean, if Poland is gonna be kicked out of the tournament, I'm gonna expect another one of those warm-ups for the grand finals. If commentating.
There's like one unwritten rule in OSU, if that's the host, if the host of the multiplayer lobby is Polish, he's gonna pick a Polish meme. It's just a thing. They all do it, and I think everybody loves that. So they make for some great warm-ups. But we will now be moving on to the fourth. That will be Canada. Yeah, I think a lot of people were underrating us. So personally, it's pretty satisfying to be the 4th seed this year.
Yeah, I mean, I must say that I am definitely surprised by the performance from Team Canada this year, but you guys do have a very solid roster overall, and I mean, obviously, if you focus on improving, this is the result you get. You are 4th this year, so I mean, you perform very well on the hiddens and the no-mods in particular. Obviously, Hard Rock and Double Time just a little bit behind, but not too much. So I think honestly, your team is very solid overall and going to be quite a threat this year.
Yeah, worth noting, Yuki-chan only played the 2 hiddens, but has one of the highest, I think like the 3rd or the 4th highest average score out of all teams, which is really, really good.
Yeah, and in general, Canada also has very little variance between both playthroughs, which is going to be probably a factor for all the top teams, because that just makes them top teams, and that just gives them the ability to get really good scores. I mean, you've got one of the 4 Chaos King assassin's, which was pretty good, I'd say, Aza.
Thank you. Moving on to the 5th seed now. It's going to be Brazil. Also, I think might not have been expected by everyone, or rather you would have expected some other teams to be up there, but showing up with the huge performance in the qualifiers, getting 5th seed, and notably getting the best hidden scores overall.
Yeah, Brazil is definitely a team that I think some people sleep on, but also don't. Like, they're always that team that shows up every single year and perform really, really well. But yeah, hidden being one of their strengths this year for sure. It was a bit of a surprise to me, honestly. They did lack a little bit in No Mod and Hard Rock, but their double time also picked up where they left off. And I want to also mention as well that Mystia's rank may be displayed incorrectly on stream right now, just because that is a Mania rank.
Yeah.
So, definitely not 259k.
Yeah, speaking of Mistia, both of the Mistias actually top scoring for Brazil. The Mistia with the Y though, the Mistia, getting the upper hand on that. Actually being one of the top performers across all teams. Also worth noting Miss Magus as well with a solid SS on Chaos King. Shoutouts to him.
Yeah. Also, if you just look at Dreadnought, they definitely tanked a lot there. But despite them tanking there, they still had Mouse Easy, who have seen twice in a row and got 1 million points once, and 990k on the second try. So you do still have really good stream players on Brazil, but don't let the number 26 score there really just ease you into picking some stream maps against them, because they're actually pretty decent at it. It's just everyone else did pretty well on it too, with a lot of assassins.
You know what I find really shocking about the stats? Sorry, hello.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, hi, what?
Like, you say that the Hard Rock is not too good, but they got number 1 on FOF.
I was gonna point that out. Yeah, FOF number 1, also Halcyon number 1. But the contrast of the two Hard Rocks, number 1 and number 26, I think is quite interesting.
Yeah, maybe that's just a little bit of sandbagging going on there. Or just really unlucky plays.
Also, since now Juan has made an appearance, I'd like to shout Juan out for doing the stream, for organizing the seeds in a very, very nice and aesthetically pleasing manner. So thanks, Juan. And
Hey.
with that,
Thanks to Peppy and Flight as well for all the work.
Right, yeah.
and
But
with
yeah.
that, we will be moving on to the 6th seed. It's gonna be Germany. So
Germany and Brazil have quite the history. It's a good surprise that they're right in front of each other.
Yeah, Germany was definitely expected to be top 8 at the very least. I would personally expected them to be a little higher than 6th seed. They did still do very good. Very notable scores on most of the nomads except for Hypersonic.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, last year they were the 3rd place team, and this year they are coming in at seed number 6, so it's a little bit lower, but I mean, seeding isn't always going to be where you end up, so there is that to look forward to. I'm sure that they are going to be a very strong team once again, and as you can see from their qualifier results, they did pretty well overall. Obviously, Hard Rock was a little bit behind, but yeah, not too bad overall.
Yeah,
Chaos King being their number 1 as well.
Chaos King being the number 1, we do have a really good score, almost assessed by Umbra there on the counting score, and their second run is also not far behind. So despite them, Germany surprisingly is going towards being a DT country again with some nomad focus. Hidden too, or like Project Hidden still is weak, as you can see, being the 18th place despite being seed number 6. And Hard Rock is a little bit weak on there. But otherwise, I think Germany is looking pretty solid this year.
Yeah, I think notably Germany, I think most people will agree, is probably the team with the highest raw skill, I think, which is why their nomads and their DTs are pretty damn high compared to everything else. I think they have a bit of they're not as well rounded as all of the other countries that like are competing for first place, which Germany definitely are. But yeah, the nomads always really, really scary for them. Shoutouts to Okinawa as well for pretty much being the best performer, having almost FC'd all of his maps being played. And with that being said, let's see the 7th seed. It's gonna be Taiwan. Also, I think this was most people in their pick'ems. Shout out to the pick'ems, by the way. If you haven't done them, go do them for round of 32. It's pretty fun. I think this was one of the on and off top 8 placements that people had, but Taiwan did show up getting the 7th seed, so notably off the back of really good Hard Rock scores.
Yeah, Taiwan is honestly a very solid roster overall. They have a lot of notable tournament players who have been participating in community tournaments all year, and they always show up. They're always strong no matter what. Being 7th seed, and having placed 8th last year, I I don't know. I mean, obviously it's an expected result based on the previous year, but it's still just crazy to me to see that they are showing up once again.
One thing I want to note is a player that's been in the community. I've heard people mention him a lot, being on the rise, being very underrated, but GFMRT actually did get the MVP for Taiwan, which is very nice to see. Also worth noting, Riser did get the highest score on FOF, so solid performance out of Taiwan. Anything to add for us?
Mostly, I want to say that it was pretty much a group effort by Taiwan. There was not really a player who was like extremely good. We do have 3 players who were just across the board pretty good, which were Rizza, Flask, and GFMRT. And otherwise, the other players just kind of chimed in depending on the map. And it's looking pretty scary this year, definitely.
Alright, so now the 8th seed, the final top 8 seed, it's going to be Australia. I think also quite a surprise, similar to Taiwan, kind of on and off for most people, but again, they did show up. Last year's placing was top 12, which I think most people will say they deserved higher than top 12. A lot of people would say. So if you look at their scores, honestly, all of them are really good except for the hiddens. I don't know what happened to the hiddens, but you know, if you remove those, Australia could have been like maybe like a 5th seed, maybe, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know that I've got my biases towards Team Australia for obvious reasons, but they are definitely a roster which is formed very heavily around Hard Rock and Double Time. Obviously also very solid on No Mod. Hidden is ever so slightly lacking, but I think depending on the map they should be okay, and you know, obviously with a bit more practice we can definitely see some solid results from them. A team that is most likely going to go pretty far this year.
Yeah, and compared to last year, there's not too many changes. You still see the same kind of people carrying there. UGT, for example, just is a beast across the board, with a bit of support from Jordan Bear and Shiraha, while Riku is interesting with like almost one of the highest percentage max score out of all the players, but he only played one single map, which was a DT1. So can't really count that much on him, but he seems to be a good DT player addition.
Yeah, that'll be it for the top seeds. So now we'll be moving on to the high seeds, and I think another one people will be expecting here, it's going to be South Korea. Similar things can be said. South Korea definitely a very, very strong team in the history of the OWC. Not really showing up as much as they did in the last year, but hopefully looking to change that this year.
Yeah, I think this is another team that was predicted to potentially get top 8. I think there was a lot of people, especially on the pick'ems as well, voting for South Korea to be top 8. And to be honest, I'm surprised by their double time performance. It was like, for South Korea, they've always been a pretty solid double time roster if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, overall they did have a pretty good performance, and obviously that is why they are 9th, which is the top of the high seed, and congrats to them.
Yeah, and in terms of MVPs, you have some scary members like Flying Toon actually playing all 10 maps, but still getting a respectable 85% max score. And Firebat and Aristia especially is a really, really good addition, getting 90% max score, and it's definitely one player to look out for in the future stages.
That's about it. So now the 10th seed is going to be the Netherlands. Also, I think a pleasant surprise for a lot of the people. Netherlands, always historically a pretty underranked team and a very underrated team. Seen some very close matches last year. And yeah, now they have a relatively high seed for them, so that's very nice.
Yeah, Netherlands are definitely a team that I was really, really looking forward to seeing play in the qualifiers, and for obvious reasons. I mean, last year's placing they did get top 16, and being 10th seed, that is pretty good for them. As you mentioned, them being relatively low in rank, usually they are quite low. I think they're usually always sitting around low seed, if I'm not mistaken.
Usually, yeah. We're at the very bottom of high seed by rank, usually.
Yeah, but definitely a very strong roster overall. They will do some crazy things this year, I won't doubt it.
Yeah, and they have a solid 6-man core in Netherlands, which is really, really scary. A lot of different players just playing in and having really good scores for the Netherlands. So having that bit of versatility and just people swapping out in case something gets too hot during the match.
All right, so moving on to the next seed. It's going to be the 11th seed. It's going to be China. So a team that has historically been pretty strong, but kind of fell off the radar recently. I haven't seen too many people talk about them. Now they have a pretty strong seed off the back of really strong Nomad and hidden performances.
Yeah, we've obviously seen China be one of the strongest teams in the past before, but it looks like they are trying to reclaim that spot. You know, they've got a solid roster behind them. Quite a lot of people have stepped up, and some of them are obviously also returning from previous years.
And yeah, in terms of just MVPs, we do have a player Teriri who's really good, but only 2 maps. But having a clear core of Crystal and David Q2, both playing 10 maps. Crystal getting some assasses, which is pretty scary. Crystal has been a player who we saw so many times already, and he's definitely not lacking any department this year.
Yeah, so for China, who's next? It's gonna be Russia. So Russia, 12th seed. I think a lot of people would have this team in their top 8s. Not gonna happen this year. It's been outperformed by a couple of other teams. At least they had some really good DTs, and notably the best Nomad 1 score.
Yeah, definitely that Nomad 1 score is quite a surprise to me. I mean, they've always been a good team when it comes to aim, but I usually think that they're specialized around Hard Rock and Double Time. And seeing that the Hard Rock is a little bit behind, I guess maybe it's just the qualifiers. We'll probably see them show up later on, but they're always that dark horse team.
Yeah, and in Russia you do have to take care about Allometry, who was a beast and completely destroyed the qualifier pool. Playing 7 maps and getting 96% max score, which is one of the highest.
I believe he's FC'd all 7 maps and is among one of the top 3 players of the qualifiers, if I'm not wrong.
Right, that is absolutely insane. Pretty much being right behind Wolf and Fire Rage in that case, which is definitely an achievement. And then you also have the rest of the Russians who are also pretty good, like Gasha playing a bunch of maps and getting a lot of good scores as well. And it does look like every single Russian has played, quite often even. So they also have like the kind of the Netherlands syndrome, where you have a bunch of people you can always swap out to.
Yeah, this team is obviously, like, the qualifier results, I think, are a little bit less of what we were expecting, but for sure later on they are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, the thing with Russia, or like the perceived thing with Russia, is that they're like I would say they're like a mid-game team, right? So having a relatively low seed for them is actually going to make some really scary matchups, maybe in like round of 16 or in quarter. Like maybe like finals worthy matchups, because remember this team did finish 4th place last year, and it's basically the same roster with the addition of Gasha. So yeah, there's gonna be a couple of upsets potentially, or at least some really scary matches down the road. But let's move on now to the next seed. It's gonna be Indonesia. Indonesia, big upgrade from last year. Last year they did not make it out of groups. But now with the qualifiers, they do get to show a little bit more about what they're capable of, and 13th seed is what they're capable of.
Yeah, coming in at 13th seed, Indonesia are, I would honestly say, one of the scariest teams in this tournament, despite that seeding placement. I honestly, just these players, some of them have stepped up so much. You would expect a little bit better of a qualifier result, because some of them are also accuracy monsters. But obviously at the end of the day, combo does matter, and if that wasn't there in the qualifier, well, we might see it later.
Yeah, we do have a very solid core, Foreman core I would say, between Lloyd Kuhn playing all 10 maps, Skydive also playing all 10 maps, and SMH and Ryuz are also playing most of the maps, and the rest of them just like swapping out for 1 or 2 maps. This team has definitely a lot of good performances, but can maybe find some limits towards later stages when the Foreman core just isn't enough, or there's like a very apparent weakness where the other members just can't really swap into.
Alright, moving on. It's going to be a pretty hyped up team in my opinion, especially last year after eliminating Poland. It's going to be Romania in the 14th seed, so it's pretty good to see them as a high seed personally. A lot of potential on this team.
Yeah, the Poland group stage killers from last year, back at it again. I mean, we're seeing them in high seed, which is, I think, is honestly where they deserve to be. I believe last year they were low seed, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. But nonetheless, a very solid team overall. Again, always improving, and I'm looking forward to seeing their performances this year.
Yeah, and it didn't really change a lot from last year. I mean, Badu got got a Chaos King SS as well. He's one of the 4 people. Just showing how good he is at alternating and also playing in most of the maps. They also have a solid form core, which mostly plays in Badu, Afterwind, Rohawk, and Kamosiala, and just good performances across the board.
Yeah,
I'd say.
notably #1 scorer on Hypersonic off of 3 FCs, I believe, and one that's almost an FC, looks like, from afterwards. But yeah, very, very good score out of them. I think, again, a lot of scary potential in this team. So, moving on from Romania, 15th seed, it's going to be Hong Kong. So again, pretty expected placing out of Hong Kong. Hong Kong is definitely one of the teams that benefits a lot from qualifiers. Let's just say that, because last year they were unseeded, and that created some pretty complicated upsets when you have a team of this caliber that's unseeded.
Yeah, seeing Hong Kong come in at 15th seed is definitely a very satisfying feeling to know that, you know, the qualifiers are definitely doing the work that they need to be doing. But yeah, nonetheless, a very, very solid roster overall. They are one of the monsters to look out for in the early and mid game. A little bit late game, it might fall off, but there's still potential for sure.
Yeah, and actually, fun fact, when you think of Hong Kong, you usually think of Chaos Lids. But surprisingly, Chaos Lids was actually one of their worst performing members, which might just have been due to luck of him performing well on the team runs, which didn't get counted. But you know, if you know Chaos Lids, you know that he's definitely gonna bounce back. And I would actually maybe even reckon that they're still a little bit underrated, despite this being their seeding, because everyone else performed pretty well across the board. But Chaos is playing in most of the maps and getting about a 65% max score. I definitely think he can step that up in the following rounds.
He actually got the best Hard Rock 2 score, which is very notable. And I think with this team, it's more the case that everyone else really performed superb. And whereas last year, I think we mainly look at Chaos Lids because he really shined compared to his teammates.
Yeah, right.
MCY actually getting really, really good performance. Also, the 4th SS, the 4th and final SS on Chaos King. That'll be it for Hong Kong. So who's the last high seed team? It's gonna be Sweden. How many people saw this one coming? Sweden, the recent years haven't really had many results, but there you go. High seed Sweden off the back of a really strong performance in the qualifiers for them.
Yeah, Sweden, I mean, they've stepped up for sure. Obviously being a top 32 team last year and making it 16th seed this time around. Very, very solid performance. I've played alongside Coach before, and I know he's someone who absolutely loves tournaments. And I've seen many of the other Swedish players getting into tournaments, specifically Blue and many others. But I mean, this is just a stellar performance from them. To see them this high, I was very, very shocked. There's also a lot of interesting stats that you guys have about their team consistency, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right, yeah. In general, people didn't really expect Sweden to be really, really good. But for example, there's Sonex, who got 1.2 million points. He got an SS on DT1, the best score pretty much. And there is, I think Sweden has the closest point difference in a single map, which is Hidden One, where literally the first run and the second run only get differentiated by 3 points. That's the difference. 3 points with entirely different, the same players, but just the 3 points of difference. I mean, if that doesn't scream consistency, alright, it might not have been #1 score, but it is consistent.
A big upgrade, 3 points.
Yeah. Oh man, but in general, Reedcat for Sweden is insane. He's played most of the maps and has gotten an 89% max score, which is really great. And Sonic's obviously being a really good DT player. FCUK, that's how I'm gonna spell him, I'm not gonna say anything about that. Is also a really good player to look out for, with good performance on the qualifier.
Yeah, those 3 players in particular really showing up for Sweden. But yeah, that'll be wrapping up the high seed bracket. So now let's get into the low seeded teams. We'll be seeing France, which is technically a major upgrade from last year, where they did not make it out of.
I have to say something about France before you continue, which is a funny stat, and I don't think anybody catches this. And as well, we can take this time to explain how the bracket will work on the following stage, like on the round of 32. For people who are wondering, seed number 1 will be facing seed number 32 on the bracket, right? So that means that the first matchup for this that we get to see is Sweden versus France, right?
Yeah.
And
Right,
funnily enough, if France got 1 seed lower, they would have faced Hong Kong on the round of 32. They're having quite hilarious.
A little bit of PTSD avoided on the side of France.
Yeah, definitely a very, very, very close call for them. But overall, France, a very solid team, always. But they did have a little bit of a tricky time in the qualifiers. I think a lot of people were expecting a bit better of a result, but maybe it's just the curse of OWC. Who knows?
Yeah, as you would expect from Team France, Poon definitely stole the show. He played in all 10 maps and got by far the best performances on Team France, with the 87% max score. Otherwise, core members are definitely musty, and in addition, which I'm not sure how to exactly pronounce, Room?
Boom, ça va vite.
Ça va vite. Alright, I'm gonna have to practice that one.
And all the French people hate me for my French-Canadian accent. Sorry.
Yeah, and Nero, those are kind of the core, while Poon pretty much just has to play everything. And while Poon was definitely present and had good performances, I think the rest of the French team can definitely step up on the later stages against other teams, because I definitely think this wasn't really the best day they had.
Yeah, Poon actually getting the highest score on Dreadnought, which I believe was an SF. Yeah, that is going to be it for France though, so let's move on to the next seed, seed number 18. It's going to be Norway. Also wondering when Norway was going to show up, but seed number 18, still fairly high for them, I would say. I think Norway is a team that has a lot of potential and a lot of unique players.
Definitely right about the unique players for sure. I mean, this team is always the team that gets the AR8 hiddens banned against them, or anything that involves any form of reading. They have reading giants everywhere. I think this seed is a little bit low for them, but to be fair, there are a lot of teams around the high to low seed which are kind of interchangeable. So, you know, we'll probably expect a similar result from this year with the top 12 placing, but anything's possible.
And when you talk about Norway, he did say and mention there's a lot of interesting players. Notably, Yokespy actually being the best performer by miles on the Norwegian roster. Actually being pretty much like the 4th or 5th best performing player in the entirety of the qualifiers. A 96% max score he can achieve on 6 maps played. Which is way in front of GN having his 86% max score. So Yokespy only played the normals and hiddens. So those are in general also, as you can see, pretty good, especially the hiddens. You definitely see a team with clear strengths and also clear weaknesses. The rest of the squad is definitely there to sub in for the other mods. But this team's strength is definitely more on the hidden side and perhaps normal, and depending on what else is gonna fit their strengths.
That's worth nothing. They have some pretty old players as well. GN and Shu, I believe, are respectively playing their 8th and 9th World Cups, which is that's a long time. It's almost a decade of the OC World Cups for them. But yeah, that's gonna be it for Norway. Moving on to seed 19 now. It's going to be Japan. So Japan, a bit of a drop from last year. Supposedly a bit of a motivation problem this year, but still a decent seed with all things considered. Going to be 19th off of some pretty good DT scores.
As you mentioned, the double time scores in Japan, a double time roster is really, really terrifying this year. They are lacking a little tiny bit in other departments, but I'm sure that it will pick up a little bit later on. They're probably just, you know, finding their cool within this tournament so far. But overall, very solid roster from them once again. A lot of returning players, and I'm sure we'll see Japan do very well this year.
You definitely see a 3-man core with Vavelion, Vento, and Shiroha Maimami.
Otherwise known as Delis.
Delis, exactly.
We have to say that name once. That'll be it.
Yeah, all right.
That'll be the only time.
From now on, it's Delis. You're not getting a second chance, by the way. And Delis actually got the best DT2 score, actually assessing the map, getting 1.2 million points, a little bit. Despite DT2 actually being, I guess, worse rated than DT1. Definitely scary DT players all around, especially in terms of speed. Mobalion being just pretty much a hard rock god anyways. Also is gonna compensate a bit in the hard rock department. But Japan can definitely make a dent. They're not really a team who can win it all, but they're definitely a scary team to face.
For sure. So moving on now, seed number 20. It's going to be Italy. Pleasant surprise in my opinion. Look at that hard rock ranking for a team that didn't exit groups last year. I think notably off of the back of Koba and his pretty absurd accuracy. But yeah, very good result, I think, all things considered, for Italy.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Koba is just an insane accuracy player overall. He was probably one of the few players which performed very well in terms of accuracy across all of them. Maybe not necessarily always for comboing, but yeah, he is just an accuracy monster. They have a crazy lineup once again, and I'm hoping to see them go pretty far this year, especially due to the fact that they have a second chance as well. So if there is an early loss of some sort, there's always next time.
And even on the stats side, as you mentioned, Koba still going strong this year, playing in all 10 maps and getting a 90% max score, which might not be as high as Wolf, but it's still up there. And
when you have to play all maps, that's a really good percentage max.
That's extremely good, right? The rest of the squad, it plays about the same, about 5, 4, 6 maps each played. While Spaza and Synchro, when they do play, they play pretty well. So this team is gonna have to rely on Koba, Spaza and Synchro as their core of getting points and performing well on the things they do perform well on, which does seem to tend to be about hard rock, a bit of DT, and a few nomads. And the rest of the Italian squad is gonna be there to swap in for the mods.
Yeah, actually, I think Italy is probably one of the teams to watch out for. Definitely very strong underdog. Gonna make some for some good matches pretty early on in the tournament, but that'll be it for them. So seed number 21. Who is it gonna be? It's gonna be Austria. And yeah, Austria again, bit of an upgrade from last year. It also did not get out of groups last year. Kind of an old roster as well, right? A lot of pretty old returning players. Fedora Goose, I think most people will be familiar with. But yeah, pretty good hard rock performances out of.
Yeah, relatively old roster, as you mentioned, and pretty solid roster overall. I would say for a fact that hard rock is one of their specialties, as you can see from the stats. Hidden is also a bit of their strength, but double time, on the other hand, they are lacking a little bit in that department. So, I mean, this reveal also gives teams some sort of an insight on what their team, like if the team faces one other team earlier, they're actually getting a lot of information from this as well. So that is something to consider. But yeah, definitely a team that is capable of performing this year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to offer us.
Right, and Tepi is, unsurprisingly, depending on who you are and how much information you have about this roster, is the best performing member, having played in all 10 maps and getting an 84% max score. Tepi is definitely one of the best additions in the recent years for Team Austria, and definitely has to be taken, has to be watched. But Izuku Gaien, also being a really good normal player and a pretty good hidden player as well, is a good addition. Who, when he plays, he's pretty good. But the core is mostly gonna be Tepi and Goose, and then depending on the other mods like Hardrock and Nomad, gonna be Elska and Fidi, and just gonna be swapping around. The big issue they do have is that they might not have a solid format roster for every mod. And that's going to be something which is definitely a big weakness in this case. And you can definitely see that also in the qualifier results, where you get like 3 people around 800 to 900k points, and then 1 on 500k.
All right, so moving on, seed number 22. It's going to be Mexico. again, another team that didn't really get to exit groups last year. And I think there's a lot of potential to get pretty far this year. Very good DT scores as well. I think a good DT1 score is a very good indication that you have a lot of consistency on your team.
The double time roster on this team is looking pretty good from the results, as we can see, and they're overall looking pretty consistent for where they have placed across all the other things as well. So their hard rock and their no mod are pretty much equal to their seed. Hidden is just a tiny little bit behind that, but yeah, this team should perform pretty well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to offer in the later rounds.
And Mexico obviously being pretty much the way they always have been, a good solid 4 to 5 man roster, actually looking more like a 6-man roster, but with a dedicated 3-man core, the 3-man core being Riot, Wolfie and Hevel, and then the other people just swapping in with Kestrag and Flameshock, getting really good, pretty good performances when they do play. Definitely a few weaknesses here and there, but they do have very solid DTs, as you can see. And despite their normals looking lacking, they did have individual great performances, and when they can pull all their great performances into one play, they can definitely do a lot of damage and get even potentially good 4-way season in the future. So despite them looking a bit shaky normal, you definitely have to respect them.
For sure. So moving on now, it's gonna be Singapore. And yeah, Singapore also similar story. Did not exit groups last year, but again, good DT scores as well as a very good FOF score.
This is one of those teams which is, for me, again, interchangeable when it comes to the low and the high seed. They could honestly place anywhere between 9th and 24th, but here they are at 23. I think, as you mentioned, the double time is looking very strong. They do have pretty much the same placement for the no mod and hard rock, but Hidden is also falling a little bit behind. So a team that has some strengths and also has some weaknesses, but looking forward to seeing what they have to offer. GS Blank is another tournament player that I've seen around a lot, and a lot of these people are also returning from last year. Demonical, Amelia have been around for quite some time, a lot of familiar names. But yeah, this team
Actually,
expected to go pretty far this year, I think.
Actually, I could be wrong on this because it's been a while, but I believe Musepi is a mouse-only player. Maybe chat could confirm that for me.
Yeah, while we wait for chat to answer, I'm gonna go a few stats for the Singapore roster. Demonical, Geosplane, Locken and Soba Noodles mostly being the 4-man performing roster, with mainly Nomad focus actually. The jumping is definitely looking pretty solid. With Soba Noodles, for example, almost getting an SS, and Locken also getting a pretty good SC. And in general, the rest of the squad pretty much just rotates in for Hidden, hard rock and double time.
All right, so the next seed now, 24th, is New Zealand. It's a team we haven't seen in the World Cup for a very long time, but yeah, they did not have a team last year, did not make the cutoff, but showed that they earned it. They earned their seed pretty well. Could be clocking at 24. They don't have a lot of players, but the ones that they do have, they show up.
I must admit that this team was one that a lot of people slept on due to the fact that they haven't really made any previous, appearances in the cups. Obviously, with the last year's placing being listed as 33, but that's just theirs, not making it. But yeah, being 24th seed, they have a few strengths and weaknesses. As we can see, they've got a hidden and double time strengths, lacking a little bit in the hard rock and no mod department. A lot of these guys are tournament players or have recently just been getting into tournaments. Some of them getting back into tournaments, particularly Short Potato, as well as someone who's been playing for quite some time now. And yeah, it's good to see that they are in this list.
Right, and they definitely have a debut of a pretty decent core. Short Potato having played all 10 maps and by far being the best performing member of the team. Followed by Big C with 5 maps and Zoomer, which is also pretty close. And they do have about a 5-man core with the last 2 players, Div and DT Jump, swapping in from time to time. But the 5-man core being Short Potato, Big C, Zoomer, Yellowy, Faye. Depending on which map it is, Yellowy and Faye swap in for Hidden and Hard Rock. while Big C and Sumo don't really like those mods and are focusing more on double time and a bit of no mod. But yeah, in general, pretty good performance across the board. Not really a mod where you definitely see them striking out as this is the type of thing they want to go for. Just consistent all around.
Alright, so that's all of the low seeded teams as well. There's only 8 teams left, and the first one is going to be Finland. Also a team that failed to make it out of groups last year, but they're here to try it out again, apparently playing with an anonymous old. Interesting player he is. But yeah, some pretty good scores out of them, especially on DT as well.
Definitely would love to see what that anonymous old player has to offer us, but yeah, overall this team is pretty solid. We've seen Finland do really, really well. They have specific specialties, but they're actually lacking a couple of players from last year. So a bit of change in roster. Interesting to see how it's going to go this year.
Yeah, and in there also you definitely have a main carry, which is in the form of Freezed, playing all 10 maps and getting 80% of the max score. By far the best performing member of the team, while there's about 4 people lagging a bit behind, but still a solid 3 to almost 4-man core, being Freezed, Kenrali, Wookie, and Santeri. Those 4 people mainly playing.
Correct the stream. That player is supposed to be Wookie, so just to be transparent.
Right. And in general, the other players are just swapping in for Hard Rock, or just in case a player doesn't really feel like playing a specific Nomad map or hidden. But yeah, in general, Freeze is definitely the player to look out for, especially on stream and AMAP, like just maps with like just high amount of raw skill needed. And he's definitely the guy to watch there.
Alright, moving on. Seed 26. There's not a lot of spots left, but it's going to be Denmark. Denmark, I think, compared to last year, a bit of a downgrade, but at least they're still in the tournament. Can have some pretty hard opponents early on. But yeah, Denmark, we saw some really good things out of Denmark last year, so I think this seed is very, very deceiving. Denmark was also the other team to beat out Poland in groups, I believe, 5-1. So, you know, they've shown that they can be really, really good on the early stage pools. So whoever is up against them, you know, watch out.
For sure, a team to fear in the early game, without a doubt. I mean, they obviously managed to make Poland fall out of groups, as you said. But yeah, this seed is a little bit of a surprise to me, but they are a team which is heavily focused on early game. They have potential for the mid game. As for the late game, we haven't really seen much of that yet, but yeah, a very, very slight roster shake-up with a couple people stepping down. But we're seeing a few of them return once again. So looking forward to see what Denmark have to offer this year, whether or not they're going to knock out some teams that we would likely see in the later stages.
Yeah, for Denmark we do have 2 very, very solid players, which is in the form of Spork Lover and Razor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those numbers are really important because he's definitely a numbers guy, having played all 10 maps and having the highest percentage max score of his team, while Sparklove is just behind him, having only played 9 maps, having skipped DT1, which is pretty interesting since DT2 is where he did play. But in general, those 2 players are going to be the players to look out for, because they're just going to mostly play everything. And they're going to perform wonderfully in Nomad and hidden across the board, while the other people are just gonna, the other players are just gonna come in for different mods depending on what has to be filled. But definitely not the best 4-man roster for literally every mod, but definitely carry potential there.
All right, next seed time. Who is it gonna be? It's gonna be Chile. Again, same team, same thing as last time. Did not get out of groups last year, but I think they're always a strong contender in the groups. It's like one of those teams that you can't really like dismiss, you know? Like you don't know when they're gonna show up. So
you can see from their results that they're a pretty solid team overall. I mean, they performed very close to what their seed is. It's hard to really call this a strength or a weakness because those seed like placements are just so close together. So overall, a very solid team. I think this would be one of the teams you wouldn't want to have a weakness against, because that would probably be very easily exploitable against. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what does happen in these matches.
And the interesting thing about this country as well is that they do have a single main carry when he plays. He didn't play a lot, he only played 4 maps. But with no 37 or number 37, I'm not sure what exactly his pronunciation is. Do you know anything about that, Asa?
Probably a reference to the song.
Yeah, I would imagine so too, but you can never be too sure. So let's say number 37, or no thank you. Having by far the best performance, being one of the best performing players in the qualifiers, getting 93% of max scores, but only having played 4 maps. So when he does play, which was in Hidden, in Node 3, which was Chaos Game, so alternate, and Double Time 2, which is the speed pick, if he does play, he performs really well. But otherwise, the rest of the members are mostly playing instead of him, which is a pretty solid, I guess, 5 and Rost if you ignore number 37. While Vitoko is gonna sub in from time to time.
Okay, there's only 5 spots left. Who's the next one? It's gonna be Belgium. I think a pleasant surprise, personally, to at least see them in there. Belgium historically pretty underranked and also very scary for their rank. So yeah, it's good to see them in the tournament. Unfortunately, the seed is a little low, so gonna have a very hard game early on. But yeah, you can see the Halcyon scores for a team that's seed 28. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, obviously seems like they've got some sort of specialty going in with area hidden, but last year they were number 32, so they were the team that just made it in due to the rank cutoff. So obviously this year with the qualifier seeding method, it's changed that a little bit, but that also depends on whether or not the other teams perform and underperform and whatnot. Having 43 teams to consider this year is definitely something new, but overall, a team that should perform pretty well. Nomod, on the other hand, is struggling a little bit for that team, so it might be an abusable weakness against them. Who knows, we'll have to see.
Yeah, and in terms of performance and who plays, they do have a solid 3-man core, which is Jody, F-Blade and Honori, while Jody is by far the best performing player, having played 8 maps and getting an 80% max score. F-Blade playing all 10 maps and Honori playing 9 maps. Just getting decent, consistent scores, about 600, 700k, sometimes 500k, and some FCs here and there on Hard Rock. They are lacking. You definitely see that you're moving towards the lower seeds, and you don't see a lot more FCs, but that's just the way it is for the lower seeds. Otherwise, they would have placed higher. But they do have a 3-man core with like the 4th player getting subbed in. Not really a very good 4-man lineup for, I don't think, really any mod. Except
they have, it looks
too.
like this country has 4th player syndrome.
Yeah, you can actually say that, yeah.
Okay, so moving on. It's gonna be the Czech Republic, seed 29. I think this country, a lot of people might be a little bit unfamiliar with because we haven't seen too much of them, but they did qualify, so it's very good for them. I think there's a couple of recognizable names. I think notably Electrovoid people have spotted.
Without a doubt, yeah, this team is very, very strong overall. I mean, as much as they're obviously in the no seed area, sitting at seed number 29, I think they have the potential to make a couple of upsets in the early game, especially. They have a lot of very solid tournament players we've seen throughout community tournaments. And yeah, overall just a solid lineup. Pretty even across the scores for their seed numbers, but Hidden is falling a little bit behind.
Right, and despite Electrovoid being the player who people might recognize, Villas and Swati are gonna be players who are gonna steal the show, getting really good performances when they do play. In this team, you definitely have all players chiming in and playing, while Electrovoid surprisingly only played once. So he's actually the player who played the least. So he got a pretty good performance when he did, but it's mostly the other players. Well, the Vilas and Swati are going to be the players who you definitely have to look out for. Because when they do play, which is Vilas on Hard Rock and some Double Time and Nomad, and Swati on Hidden, Swati FC both Hiddens and Vilas both Hard Rock. So that's definitely something to respect and look out for.
Yeah, just looking at the amount of score that those two in particular have, it actually rivals some of the players on top seed teams. So I definitely would underestimate this team by any means. But yeah, there's not many. There's only three spots left in the top 32. So who's the 30th seed?
Oh boy.
It's gonna be Spain. I'm personally thankful to see this because I think Spain has a pretty sick team.
For me, I think I'm starting to dive into a little bit of unfamiliar territory. I'm not too familiar with these players, but I mean, based on the fact that they made it through, it's exciting to see. So they are lacking a little bit in the double time roster, but everything else is actually looking pretty solid. So I think that might be the reason why their seed placement is where it is at the moment. But yeah, I am curious to see what they have to offer this year because I'm not too familiar with them. I know a couple of those names, but yeah.
And in terms of players, since this is also a bit of unfamiliar territory for me, it is at least easy on the statistics side to gauge players. And for this roster, I mean, you do recognize some names, but Bayashi14 getting 80% of max score on 9 maps played is really, really good. Definitely a player you have to look out for on this Spanish roster. While I'm not sure how to pronounce this properly, but Sumo de Laranja being 78% max score, only playing 3 times, so when he plays. Oh, yeah, come on.
It's Sumo de Laranja, if you want.
Okay, so it was actually pretty close, like, oh.
Nice try.
Okay. Alright, I'll take it. At least it's better than reading out some of these Japanese titles for songs. Alright.
Oh, we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, we'll get to that soon. Oh, damn. Kano's gonna take over for that one. But in general, a 3-man roster who are mostly playing Bayashi, Records, and Bedwin, and the rest is swapping in for different mods.
Alright, so the last 2 teams in the top 32, who is it going to be? Let's see it. It's going to be Latvia at 31. Latvia actually did not have a team last year. But again, quite an old team, I would say. Latvia is one of those teams that just used to be pretty dominant. Or not dominant, but, you know, they used to be very present. You know, you couldn't really ignore Latvia. Have a lot of very old players. Emila, namely, is... I think on his 5th World Cup now. But yeah, old roster.
I remember the old roster, and yeah, this is definitely a big change, but it is good to see that they are back in the World Cups once again. For me, once again, unfamiliar territory, but Waywern is probably one of the notable players that I do recognize and have seen around before. From what you can see of their results, though, it's good to see that they're pretty consistent in terms of where they placed. 33, 33, 33 on 3 different modifications. Obviously, they're hidden, managing to carry them into this. So, definitely a team to look out for on hidden.
Right, and they do have one specific carry player, which is Wild Tom, just getting an 84% max score. Pretty good performance on 7 maps played. Waywern, as you said, someone you recognize, he's played in 10 maps, but he did have to fill in for some maps where he probably didn't want to play, where you definitely see a lot of performance discrepancy between when he does perform and when he doesn't. Like getting a C on Nomad 1, but then getting 300k on Nomad 4. So definitely a team with very clear weaknesses, but you definitely have to pay attention to Wild Tom.
Yeah, okay, so there's only one spot left on.
Who could it be? And who was ruined?
There's a lot of teams that could fit in here. Unfortunately, we could only fit one of them. And let's see it. It's going to be Turkey. So I think this is a very new roster, extremely new roster. Don't think we've ever seen any of these players play in OWC before, but they do slightly scrape by. And I do want to emphasize they very, very slightly scraped by. It was really close for the last team of the top 32, but it is going to be Turkey.
Yeah, unbelievably close between the last 2 teams to make it in. As you can see, overall their performances were pretty good. Hidden was just falling behind a little bit, but the performances in the other modifications definitely did pull them through this one.
Oh man,
I'm sorry, Force, but if you want to be curious about how small of a difference it was between these 2 teams, there was a 0.4 points of difference, and they got 32. So that's like very, very small margin. Like we only
Yeah.
see that in like in the middle seats, for example, where the teams are just good at everything, and when the teams are like 32s, 33s, and that, it's very, very tricky. Like seed number 34, for example, has 1.4 actually, like 1.2 points of difference. So it's a big, big difference. It was so close.
Yeah, it was very close, and Juan adjusted the seeding once and then just kicked Argentina out of there. Yeah, guess there wasn't enough
Yeah.
PayPal money sent to him. Gotta step the game up next year. But yeah, in terms of Turkey, they do have the foreman syndrome, foreman player syndrome. They choose their 4 players, and that's pretty much it. That's all you can really say. The foreman players are gonna be Egeman, Raikoho, Heironi, and Segi. Those are the 4 players you will most likely see playing most of the maps, if not all of them. While Black Person and Akashi Dagara is gonna play the, well, depending if there's really a gap there, but it's mostly gonna be those 4.
Yeah, and I think we can briefly show some of the seeds, or at least the results from the teams that unfortunately did not qualify, if you'd like to do that. So Argentina, as we just said, very, very close, maybe a couple thousand points of difference, but yeah, unfortunately did not qualify. Worth noting specifically about Argentina, we're not gonna do this for every country, but Argentina, Slowburn has the best Nomad 1 score and the best Nomad 2 score. I just wanted to point that out because it's kind of tragic. But yeah, you're moving on.
Also getting a really good hard rock ball. Yeah, it's insane, unluckily.
So 34, if you can show that, it's gonna be Malaysia. You can just briefly go through these real quick. It gets kind of hard to say so much about every team, and I believe people really want to see the map pool. So yeah, 35th.
Malaysia just has 1 really good player, Rampax. He tried his best. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough.
Uruguay, I think.
Yeah, Uruguay. They definitely performed pretty well as a team, but it just fell flat compared to Turkey and Latvia.
Yeah, some of these were quite close. We did say Argentina was like really, really close, but still, these are pretty close still. Maybe a couple, 3 or 4 ranks of difference on each map, right?
Yeah,
so
you see like 0.1 or 0.2 points of difference as well. So it was really, really close. I think if you would have done this on any other day, I think that the bottom 4 or the last 4 seeds, or the last 4 teams in the last seeding is can definitely change a lot.
anyway, moving on. Next team is going to be the Philippines.
Philippines didn't really have too many outstanding
that is not the
performances.
Philippines. That's not the flag of the Philippines.
You debated me.
Oh, I skipped Slovakia. My bad.
Slovakia, yeah, Slovakia still
Oh,
coming.
spoilers.
I mean, yeah, Philippines is not coming next.
Come on, guys, what are you doing? Let me handle this showcase.
Alright, okay, well, let's go.
Got Slovakia coming in at number 36. I think it's unfortunate for them because they did have a pretty strong performance, as you can see, but Hard Rock and Double Time were lacking a bit there.
You will
Moving on
never
to-
guess what the next team is.
Never guess. No way.
It's going to be the Philippines.
Nothing special there, just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it's hard to have anything to say with the teams
Right.
with no history, pretty much. At least no recent history. Did not have a team last year. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. It's gonna be Portugal. Seat 38 against similar thing. Did not have a team last year, so it's hard to say much about these players. Just unfortunately didn't make it. And
Yeah.
again, seed number 39. It's gonna be Ukraine. Again, a team that has a decent amount of players, but I don't know, they didn't really make it. And again, moving on, Israel. Israel, I think notably Israel without silver. Quite hard to. You guys stole silver from the Israel team to Mappool, so.
Very, very, very sorry for that one, Israel.
We just kind of stole your best player.
Moving on, it's gonna be Hungary. Again, a lot of these teams have very similar stories. Just no roster last year, right? kind of complicated to mention anything, but yeah.
I'm
Next up,
just taking a look if there's like a really good score by one player, but if there's nothing, we're just gonna keep on going.
next up, Vietnam. And yeah, it looks like Vietnam, I think, just doesn't have enough players from what I could tell, because they do have a couple of players with some potential, but you know, in the World Cup, you got to field 4 people for so many different skill sets. It gets hard.
They had like 5 people, didn't they? Or 6? Oh, they had 6 people, I think.
It was 7-man roster, yeah. Which is one of the.
But only 5 people played.
Only 3. Oh, potentially, yeah. And 43rd seed's going to be Switzerland. And that wraps up the seed reveals. So a lot of interesting games that can happen, especially with some of the seeds that I think were misplaced expectations, I would say. Namely, something like Russia being 12th seed. I think a lot of people would expect them to be a lot higher. Or Sweden being 16th seed. It's gonna throw a wrench in France's plan, who ended up 17th seed. So yeah, a lot of interesting seeds this year. I think qualifiers will make for a pretty interesting round of 32. And with that being said, I think it's time for the Mappool showcase. You guys ready for the Mappool showcase?
Very, very ready.
Oh boy.
Kano is always ready at what, 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
6:44 in the morning. Yeah.
Prime, it's prime time for a Mappool
true. I just woke up. I'm feeling fresh for some Mappool commentary. Let's go.
All right, so if we're all ready and set, let's get started. Let's see the first nomad.
All right. When the stream is ready, and the first nomad is going to be, drum roll.
The suspense.
Hey, give me at least 1 minute. Come on.
No pressure, no pressure. It's not like we just talked like 2 hours about teams.
We can have chat guess what Nomad 1 is.
Right. Nomad 1 is gonna be the A map. It's gonna be Chunshin always. If we get the replay up and running. Chunshin always by Tadoroko Asusa. And oh, wait a second. This how long is this pick? It's 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So it's gonna be 4 minutes of 20 seconds of very long aiming on an enemy song. This is just the way it is. Nomad 1 always gonna be very generic. And oh, do you guys hear that? I'm getting lags. I think I'm getting deceived. For 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Kano, can you take over this?
It appears that someone is DDoSing fours at the moment. It's really, really unfortunate because I was really hoping that he would be here to showcase this pick. I'm going to give you guys some map pooler insight, alright? So after a long, hard debate between all of us as map poolers, we came to the conclusion that this map, it's a map.
I didn't
Yes, thank you. It is a map. All right.
But yeah, generally the Nomad one is always going to be some sort of aim map, which obviously, as you can tell, incorporates a lot of aim. In these aim maps, we're typically trying to find something which tests as much consistency in aim as possible. And we're hoping that this did a relatively good job of that. It also features some short bursts. The BPM is a little bit slower in comparison to last week's Qualifier map. It is a 180 BPM map in comparison to 190, so I mean the jumps are a little bit slower, so maybe might be a bit more comfortable depending on the person. But yeah, honestly, not too much to say about this map. Some quick thoughts though while we are here. We wanted to make the qualifier pool something around the round of 16 level, and this is obviously the round of 32 showcase. So these maps will actually be a little bit easier than what you did see from the qualifier showcase. So just keep that in mind. Some maps may actually feel easier or harder because we have been taking as much feedback into consideration as we possibly can. And hopefully we will make these pools the best they can be.
Well, I think Kano said everything. By the way, I'm back. My DC is stopped. Oh, my internet connection fixed itself. Even though I would have loved to be DC'd for another 3 minutes of this song. Hey Kano, can we talk about something else? How's your day so far?
I'm tired and I'm going to bed as soon as this is done, but yeah. I mean, as you can see, a lot of this map is very focused around the jump sections, and they are pretty well spread out, I would say. We tried our best to find a map which, you know, fits the criteria or what we were looking for. Obviously, as you can tell, the main focus here was the map. Song choice, I don't know, it depends on the person. You might really, really like this, but me on the other hand, I struggle. I definitely do struggle.
Yeah, the anime ratio on the pool so far is pretty weak, guys. Not
It's 100%. That's bad. That's actually horrible.
We're currently sitting at 100%.
Well, yeah, Kano is actually lying to you. Every time he pulls, he's rating like a bunch of anime songs on speakers, blasting on full volume in the background, so don't trust his words.
Listen, a wise old man once told me the quality of Mappool is solely determined by how many anime maps are.
Also by the amount of anime girls in the backgrounds, which is also important. Because there are plenty of songs which are pretty generic, maybe drum and bass songs, which do have a bunch of anime girls in the background for some reason.
Yeah, I was about to point that it's not only the anime ratio, but it also always happens that the anime song is the longest one. Like, why?
This might be the target group, right?
Just TV size, please.
Yes, please, actually, keep the awesome TV size, but if you see Necromancer Master something, please, feel free to go for the long version. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the public announcement. Oh, look, Silver actually tuning out to this one. Oh, look at that cursor dancing. He's feeling it.
He is insane. He is enjoying this.
Yeah,
Much more than most players will, probably.
I also wanna note at this point, Kano's the one who picked this one. Just for the record.
I'm just gonna throw him under the
How
bus.
dare you out me like that? I mean,
That's
at the end of the
why I
day,
told
you and Silver definitely did give the A-OK to this one, so it's not all just me, man.
Look, it was a life or death situation. If I wouldn't have said yes, I would not have survived the day.
Sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet, man. That's all you gotta do. You just gotta bite the bullet and just move on.
You're right,
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, Silver's also biting the bullet. He had to play the map probably like 3 times because he missed a few times.
Alright, it's done. So now we get to move on to the second Nomad map, which is going to be... Oh, I like this better already. It's 4 Ultra players.
So yeah, as you can see, the map is 4 Ultra players. We actually got Toybot to map this one because we did find that there was a distinct lack of stream maps in the low star rating that were what we were looking for particularly. This map is around 200 BPM, so the BPM might be a bit of a challenge for some people, and as you can see, this is a map which tests some burst streams, but there's also some longer streams in it as well, and as you can see there's an awful lot of 1/3, so it's not just a stream map entirely, so you gotta be on your toes when it comes to both the rhythm and the control of the streams.
Yeah, if you just look at the BPM, this is definitely, I guess, an upgrade compared to the Qualifier map, being 192 BPM and this one being 200. But the streams are gonna be shorter because of that, especially first because it's an easier round, and secondly because of the higher BPM. But this is pretty much the easiest stream map is gonna be in this tournament, and it's just gonna be longer and higher BPMs from now on, or if it's lower BPMs, it's gonna be longer, etc.
One thing that might be worth talking about in case anyone watching this missed the initial qualifier showcase is that there's a bit of map pool size changes this year, huh?
Alright,
Yeah.
you wanna go with it, Kano, or should I?
You're more than welcome to. I'm
someone's
falling
feeling
asleep
it.
over it.
Alright, yeah, runner 32 up to runner 16 are gonna be the same size. It's gonna be 5 nomad maps, 2 of each mod bracket, except for double time. Double time has 3 maps because of trying to balance out the amount of hidden and harvest present in the pool, which is present in free mod as well. While double time is just in double time, obviously.
And I'm gonna cut you off there. As the map is over, it's time for the next one. So
Next map is gonna be obviously Chaos King, the top diff this time. No, just function.
okay, this is super good.
It's a map people might have seen in tournaments, at least according to Kano. I haven't seen it in tournaments. I don't play tournaments anymore. It is a map by Chaosless. He's gonna feel a bit at home, I guess. It's gonna be the tech pick. And the tech pick here on out is pretty standard. It's long, so you do have to respect that, at least the length. It does have a lot of things which are standard in the tech pick, which is a bit of slide attack, a bit of thing control. You do have some repeat sliders you definitely need to pay attention to, and some janky distance spacing between like 1/4 notes. Just a general, pretty consistent technical overall. And if I just shut up for a second, the song bangs. So it's also something to look out for.
Now, as much as I'd love to give you a bit of silence so you can listen to how much the song bangs, I actually want to chime in just a little bit. As you can see, this map is what we call a step down from Hypersonic, which we featured in the Qualifier pool. This map may arguably be a little bit harder just due to the fact that it is longer, and I guess it focuses a bit more on the consistency aspect. Like it feels like a constant challenge. But yeah, as Forz mentioned, this is quite a banger, and it does go pretty damn hard when it comes to both the song and the map. Definitely a lot of missed potential for players on some of these sections. As mentioned, the repeating sliders are quite easy to miss on, and just the slider aim in general.
I think from my own experience of just being around in tournaments for quite a long time, when it comes to this map, usually this type of map, you can kind of alienate a little bit a lot of the players that don't typically play this. I think this is a map that everybody will enjoy, regardless of whether or not they actually play this type of thing. It flows so well. It just flows super naturally. It's a very good map, so.
Well, I don't think anyone would want to risk ruining the song, so I think we'll probably keep quiet until the end unless we find something else to talk about.
Shut up and enjoy the music.
I'm mapping this song.
Yeah, you should.
For Mania?
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn right. You better
It sounds so good.
As many others should, as I believe this is a featured artist.
Yep. I'm not sure if the track is by the is featured, but I'm pretty sure Fokchong fandom is.
Alright, so that's it for the third no mod. There's 2 left now. So we've seen the no mod one, we've seen the speed, we've seen the tech. What's left? It's gonna be the alt pick, I guess.
Yep, this is definitely a map that's meant to fill the alternate slot. It is pretty tricky overall. I would say that this map is mostly consistent. There might be some parts which feel difficult for some players, particularly some of the space triple patterns. But once you get the hang of it, it's honestly not that difficult. The map does ramp up ever so slightly in difficulty towards the end, but it's honestly not that noteworthy. But as you can see, it features a lot of really, really tricky flowy patterns, snap patterns. Definitely a lot of stuff that if you're not an alternate specialist, you will probably struggle with this. But there's also going to be a lot of people who are most likely going to single tap the map like this, especially that triple part as you saw there. Some of those space triples, I can see some people at least hybrid alternate single tapping.
That one triple.
Yeah,
I mean, it definitely
single taps behind it, so you do have a bit of time, and if you really want to, you can just cheese it, I guess.
Yeah, you have a lot of time to think about it. It's one of those situations where it looks harder than it is, but it definitely has missed potential for some players, especially if you do struggle with that kind of thing.
And in general, the patterns to look out for are obviously the flow patterns you can see, but they do come in two ways. First one, just flowing into a slider start with like consistent spacing, and then flowing in like a half circle or something, and then having a jump, like quite a big jump actually to the slider. So you do have to snap there properly. Yeah, like that pattern, for example, does have like 2 circles of distance, and might trip you up if you're not careful.
Yeah, just from watching this, what, 2/3, 3/4 of the map now, it feels like you can kind of just miss on anything, or not even miss, like get a slider break on anything in here if you're not careful.
Yeah, right. Difficulty is very consistent, and this is kind of the part where things get a bit more tricky and a bit hard, I guess, because you see you have these double patterns, I guess, circle into slider with like bigger spacing. It's not really that hard to hit. It's it feels more like almost a DT map in that case, more like ink focused, while the previous patterns were flow focused. This one's being snappy. But in essence, if you miss anywhere, it should probably be pretty much everywhere.
Pretty much this pick is designed to go for as much consistency in alternating that you can pretty much find nowadays. And yeah, as Foz mentioned, towards the end, you can see a bit more aim requirement coming out of that one.
Alright, so for Nomads, 5th one is going to be Carnation.
Oh yeah, Carnation. It is approach at 8.5. That's something I do have to say because it's not present in the stats below. So it might look really easy. It's 145, or actually 160 BPM, and it is low BPM streams, has a 1/3 part, and adding to the fact that it's approached 8.5, adding a bit of reading to it. This was, I guess, kind of the gimmick slots and the filler slot of the normal pool, or just the entire pool. So obviously something like this will not really be present in other mods, the reading map on 160 BPM, otherwise there would be too much overlap. This one ramps up a little bit over time, if you just listen to the music. The 1/4 part, the streams are coming in. Between 2 key items, which is coming up pretty soon, there's a 1/3 part you do have to pay attention to. Very long 1/3 part. And if you don't get the timing down right, you can easily miss, but you can also single tap it, since it's about 120 BPM.
Yeah, I really like seeing a pick like this. I think this skill set, this type of skill set in particular, the kind of like aim control, like low AR reading thing, is not something that's present in too many pools. And there's a lot of players that kind of excel in that type of thing, so it's good for them to have an avenue to show it. Namely, when I look at something like this, I immediately think of a country like Norway.
Oh, also, it's CS 4.5. It's not something I should have mentioned because it's also not at the bottom.
Yeah, being CS 4.5 and AR 8.5, you can see a little bit of diversity in this pick. And here's a 1/3 section, which is possible to miss on, but playing that one safe for sure. But yeah, overall, we're probably going to see a lot of the Nomod 5 and Nomod 6 being generally either maps that just fill what we don't have present in a pool, or most likely favoring towards some sort of gimmick, I guess. Is probably the best way to describe what we're going to be doing with those extra slots. So you might see something that isn't normally present in pools. It might be something different every week. It might be a similar thing or the same thing. It's probably going to be something that we roll the dice on each week.
Yeah, that's all for the Nomads, so moving on to Hidden now. Hey, I know this map. It's a very good map. Very good storyboard as well.
Yeah, this map is a Sakuzel map, Menohokari. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but I tried my best. This map features a lot of tricky split streams and spacing changes all throughout it. It is approach rate 9, but it is also low BPM, sitting at about 155, I believe. And yeah, as you can see, this requires quite a lot of control and a fair bit of reading on hidden, I would say. As you can see, we're getting into the split stream patterns at the beginning here. This is probably one of the places which is most commonly going to see a lot of misses.
Right,
If
I
you
think
are-
you pretty much said it all.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're a hidden specialist, you're probably going to have no problems with this, but for people or teams which, you know, are struggling from the fourth player syndrome, as you mentioned, they might have some very big outliers on this map.
Something to note, it is approach rate 9.0. So that means there's a certain amount of density with this map. It's 155 ppm, but still something to note for, because usually you see some of these maps being a little bit spicier, probably approach rate 9.6, 9.5 to be rather more comfortable.
Honestly, that's kind of an important thing because, as you've mentioned as well, also the BPM is quite low. Some of these cut streams pattern can some of these patterns can actually be quite hard to hit, like, consistent if you don't play this stuff often.
I mean, come on, Ace, this is 5.2 stars. I mean, this is
Oh,
also
yes.
lower than Nomad 1. What do you do? Just FC this, lol.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, what are these 5-star maps doing in my
Exactly.
round of 32 pool, please? Where's the
Look at
7-star
these
maps?
2 digits. Jesus Christ.
You're not putting Lonely Go DT in the pool? What's going on here?
How much people
You-
use this
are you a
map?
boomer or something?
Yeah, it's only like 140 pp or something. Disgusting.
These streams at the end actually, I feel, could lead to some potentially interesting matchups here. Like, I can see a lot of breaks at the very end here because you're like, oh, I'm at the end, you know, I've got my combo I'm FCing, and then you hit the hardest pattern of the map and you're no longer FCing.
Right, if you,
I
if you
definitely
truly feel
I definitely thought you were going down the route of saying potential team fails, but then I realized that doesn't exist this year.
it.
So we're
unless
all
they
in the
forgot to
clear,
use
boys.
no-play, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is true. That is a possibility.
Oh,
But
and look
very
at
unlikely.
Look at this one. It's Denkishi, Karen, Ongaku, Shudan, Silver Orbit by Lasse. And this is a map,
the first last map.
it's the first Lasse map, but also it's a custom map from Lasse. Done for the ODC because there's such a lack of upgrades. So it's actually not just helping out ODC because we cannot use maps which were used in the last 5 years. So most of the projects already being used up. There's not a lot of things to go for except something new. And
Well, this one's 5 stars, so it's easier, right?
yeah, it's definitely a lot easier. I mean, if you look at the patterns, it's the same spacing. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, the rhythm does. You see, it does not change spacing a lot, and it features a lot of really tricky patterns. If you side read, you're definitely gonna trip up on that. You see these spacing of the triplets? Sometimes it's a triple, sometimes it's just single taps. 3 times in a row, right? You do need to know the rhythm, and you do need to know the pattern. And the space, Lasse definitely experienced a lot of the spacing in this map to make it a bit more tricky for people to read. If you don't practice this one, you're in for just a world of hurt, I'd say.
So congratulations to Silver Orbit for being the most banned maps of round of 32.
Honestly, no surprises there for certain teams at least. But yeah, as Fours mentioned, this is definitely a map that teams are going to want to put a lot of effort practicing, just in case. Especially, you never know, like maybe a team could practice it enough that they don't actually want to ban it.
I wonder which map I'm gonna ban against Norway.
I think kind of how you mentioned, I think your performance on this map is like a direct correlation to how much you've practiced it.
Yeah, I would
or at
definitely
least,
say so.
or at least that's what it looks like to me. Because obviously, as everyone watching, this is actually the first time we see this map, or at least personally. But
I would
yeah,
say
this
it looks a lot harder.
this doesn't look friendly to sight reading.
Right. But I also think it looks a lot harder than it actually is to play. Like some of these patterns, sure, it's the same spacing but a different rhythm. But if you have ears and you just listen to the music, it's not that hard to get those single taps right.
Come on, Fours. What do you think? Are we playing a rhythm game now?
No. This is still a whack-a-mole game. The last time I checked, at least. That's why DT is gonna be at least 300 BPM this round.
Is the DT also going to be 5 stars?
Well, let's see and wait. No,
Alright,
no,
alright.
it's not. That would be horrible, actually. Oh yeah, the length is a good factor, which definitely shows that you practice it or not. Maybe you can cheese yourself through 1 minute and 30 seconds of Project 8's spicy mapping, but this one's being... oh, the length is actually on the screen, that's wonderful. Right, yeah, it's 3 minutes 9 seconds. You do have to practice this map. It's very straightforward once you get the gimmick, but it's... yeah. If you don't, you will notice when players haven't played this map, 100%.
Yeah, I think one thing I just, again, purely from first experience seeing this map, I would say this looks a little bit harder than the Halcyon from the qualifiers.
I think it's one of those things where you really need to just like play through the map, get the gimmick down, and then once you figure it out, it becomes quite easy. At least the fundamentals of the map are a lot easier than it looks on paper. So, but yeah, getting into the next map, it's going to be Hokkaido Tea Time. And again, this is another map which kind of follows suit of the Nomad one, where we see a lot of aim and streams involved. It's just pretty much a standard consistency map on Hard Rock. So testing those small circles, seeing how well you can aim them and get accuracy on them.
It's a jump map. Alright, can we go to the next one? It's pretty much all it is, really. Surprisingly, there's no really ranked maps you can use in this BPM range, in this length, in this difficulty, which is ranked. So this one is an unranked map we had to resort to, and we didn't really want to get a second map, or I mean a third map mapped here for the round of 32, just because we were missing an A map, right? So we just looked for something on which is unranked.
I want to give a shout out to OMG Force for putting this one in the pool. Thank you very much. I'm gonna take my revenge if you don't mind.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not sure if you know how that works, but you're both map pullers, so you're both at fault, alright?
Well, I mean, let's get Zilver in here, alright?
Yeah, we're actually gonna, yeah, that's one that we're gonna swing. That's where we're fisted gonna swing when Silver in here.
I mean, I like how we say we're at fault, but to be honest, this map's not as bad as we make it out to be.
Oh, I'm sure it's not. This is all jokes, of course.
I think it's a better song than at least Chunchin Always. I'll take that one at least. Might not be a better map, but it's a better song, I'd argue.
My player experience.
Yeah, as a non-anime song listener, I could listen to this 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and you probably won't need to listen to it more than 3 times, because you play it twice for practice, you play it once in the tourney, and then you're done.
Yeah, that's kind of how those aim maps go, huh?
Right, yeah, it's like a one and done type of deal. Like, if you can't succeed in the first 2 tries, chances are you can't succeed in the third try, or in a 1 try in the tournament, right? The best practice for A-maps is still gonna be the years before the tournament, and how you evolve yourself as a player. Yeah, so Aza, how's your day?
Not much more to say about this one. it is the aim marathon.
I think we also came to the conclusion that this is also a map when we were heavily debating it.
Out of all maps
map
I've ever seen, this is definitely one of them. Yeah.
Thanks for the resourceful input, guys.
No problem. I'm a map puller, by the way. Also a commentator. That's a double whammy.
Always happy to share my wisdom as a map puller.
Right, experienced tournament player, by the way. Also, Kano over here is also kind of a mapper.
Kind of a mapper? I guess I have one map, I think.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, that's that one map.
I mean, at this point, you're basically
pretty good.
aren't you?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
so get
I just need to start ranking some maps. That's all.
yeah, just get Mir and Lassie out of here, man. We're gonna start having Kano do the OWC maps. But
so
anyway, that'll be it for the first Hard Rock. So we'll be moving on to the other Hard Rock.
which is if we see it, Dynasty. Yo, it's a song. This one's a song. A cool song.
It is indeed a song. Yes.
It is a song, which I think is a song which is in a very weird way. I quantify this as a better song in my head, but it's also a cool map. It's a Halloween map, and
Maybe this one's a bit old.
it is, yeah, because it's called Halloween map. And this one's a C6.5. It's a small circles map. It does have some linear patterns, some streams in here, some aim patterns. As you can see, you do have the aim section there, which is as much aim as you can possibly be on CS6.5 and Round 32, while still being a balanced map. Streams and jumps, that's pretty much it. Pretty generic on the generic side, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely crazy to me to think that we're calling this an old map, but it is definitely aging, and I would say it's aging pretty well.
It's like from 2013, I think, or from 2014 maybe. I could be. I just remember playing this a long time ago.
Yeah, just to confirm, it is from 2014, this map, so 5 years ago. But I mean, people are definitely going to feel the style in this one without a doubt. A lot of those maps do share a similar style from like the 2013 to 2015 era.
I think this mapping style on Hard Arc is always going to be a welcome addition in tournaments.
Right, if only not every map has been played or picked in a tournament on this style. I mean, I have to admit, I got really angry when I looked at the previous map was in the 5 years, and they just picked all of these maps because they know that these maps are always welcome. So we're like just grasping for straws. We were like, hey, I found this map. Silver just randomly whispered me and put this one in. I have to thank Silver for this one. He found a really cool map, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think people are going to have fun playing this one. How about the double times, though? Are they higher than 5 stars?
Oh boy, yeah. Well, this.
Oh, according to the layout, we have a 4.4 star map.
Yeah,
oh
wow,
boy. How unfortunate.
I don't think the mods are being calculated in there.
Yeah. As you can tell, the mods are not being calculated for these ones, but this map is coming in at 6.1 stars, actually. This map is mostly focused on aim, and the reason for that is because we actually were lacking a bit of speed aim in the pool, so we wanted to test something which, you know, was a nice song and a good map overall. It does feature some bursts, so there is a speed aspect to it, but this is definitely going to be a pick that's a little bit more focused around speed aim, without a doubt.
Yep, and now congratulations to this map for being the most picked of round of 32.
I wouldn't be so fast, Razor.
DT1 is always the most picked.
Please, just wait a second, alright? Alright, but I actually wanna be the stats guy right now because you shouldn't trust the metadata bottom.
You can definitely change those stats if you ban this map, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Who's gonna ban this? Like, everyone is comfortable on a map. Like, everyone wants to
Sure, they're gonna keep a hidden too, which needs a lot more practice than this one. Makes a lot of sense.
You need to prove us wrong. What's going on, man?
Oh, man. Yeah, Aza, what's up with that? Don't ban, please.
Who said I'm banning this?
Well, we did just now.
Yeah, it's all
well,
part
you
of
were
the strategy.
wrong.
Well, I'm wrong. No, I'm not wrong.
But yeah, as you can tell, this is a really, really nice map and song overall. Features a lot of tricky jump patterns and short bursts, a couple of triples with some aim involved, but yeah.
Just
really
for
nice.
information, it's not 3 minutes 47 seconds. It is 2 minutes and 50 seconds long. It's 237 BPM. Approach at 9.67. OD 9.44. Those are the stats which are relevant for you guys. Yeah. That's the song, that's the map. It doesn't really change a lot. It does have those, I guess, KI time spikes a bit, but they're pretty consistent.
I'm gonna make a wild prediction. Are you ready?
Alright, go for it.
The next I haven't seen the pool, by the way. The next DT is going to be a Toho Air ADT map.
So how much are you betting on that
He doesn't know.
How much are you betting on that one, Aza? Just like 5 imaginary bucks?
Sure. Imagine.
Yeah, alright, okay. I'm betting a million imaginary bucks that it isn't the case. I don't know why I know that, but I just have this gut feeling.
It's gonna be Senya. It's gonna be ZTS.
Senor CTS?
How are you so spot on every time, Aza? It's unbelievable.
Oh my god,
It's like you're
Aza,
some
how
sort of
did
prophet
you
man.
know? Hey, Kano, quickly message one and change to. Oh, okay.
We need to change the order.
Well, it's actually
Wait.
different. This
Oh
one,
god, the order is actually
let's just go with this one. Let's just not spoil anything. Let's go.
Oh,
This one.
oh, did Juan support my case?
Hey, I did it on purpose, okay? I spotted you before you told me to do so.
It isn't Senya and it isn't CTS, so we win, right? I don't lose $1 million imaginary dollars. That's fine. This one is Elise's Emotion Fought in Fields by Natsu. It is the speed pick of this DT pool. It's 255 BPM. It is 2 minutes and 43 seconds long. It is a push rate 10.07, slightly higher than 10, and OD 9.78. So it does have a decently high, I guess, OD. This map itself features a bunch of 5x bursts. I think the longest burst, as you can see, where there's 5x bursts into a repeat slider, into 5x bursts into repeat slider. So you do have a bit of a buffer if you can truly like burst 15 nodes of 255 ppm in a row. But this map still does require a decent amount of speed to at least not drop a lot of accuracy. And as you can see, Silver just literally being Gaze McG over here, just assessing this map as if it's nothing. No, it's still one of the easiest speed picks, so we will expect a bunch of FCs, but there's a bunch of attributes and aspects which are gonna make this a bit tougher.
Over having good accuracy.
What? How can it
Unheard of.
possibly be?
I mean, depending on the team, obviously we have 32 teams to consider when pooling, so we do take that into consideration. And this map, I know for a fact that there's going to be some teams which do struggle, especially the, as we mentioned, 4-man syndrome teams. But yeah, this could be a bit of a stamina test for some teams. Other teams are just going to be like, okay, this is not really very speedy at all, but we'll take it. But we can expect a lot of solid performances for sure from a lot of the top end teams.
This seems like an accuracy battle pick.
Yeah,
Especially
I would say it's
with that OD
definitely
and the bursts, right? Not everyone can be comfortable on those, but that OD in particular. Like Silver's not doing this map justice right now.
Right,
He's
yeah.
too good.
I would agree with you there, but I would say the same is true for probably the next round too, or if you look at qualifiers. If you just look at the qualifier results in general, DT just had a lot more Cs across the board, and it's just a mod people are really comfortable on. It's mostly because of also the nature of the team, and maybe being a bit too easy on qualifiers perhaps. Where DT is literally just a map which is low star rating, which has very easy and just straightforward patterns, nothing special, just on a far higher speed. And that's just very, very easy and comfortable for a lot of players. But who knows if the next team up is actually going to be an act battle? I mean, possible, but I would say it's a little bit more unlikely because, Kano, I hope you're ready for this one being the, in quotes, Senya DT map of this pool.
Yeah, this was meant to be the Senya map, but I mean, here we are with
Close
Sei's
enough.
But
Spectacle.
Juan is trolling us, exactly.
But yeah, as you can see, this is Sei's Spectacle. It is a very, very tough map when it comes to stamina. As you can see, there's a lot longer bursts. This is a little bit lower BPM, so this is going to be, for some teams, maybe an act battle against, like, amongst themselves. You might see some of the closer seeded teams having maybe either an act battle or, I guess, combo battle on this one. But yeah, for some of the top end teams versus the lower end teams, you're going to see a big difference on this map in particular, because this is going to separate the boys from the men when it comes to having stamina on double time.
It's not gonna be any easier than this. This is like the easiest we will really go in terms of like streams on DT. Speed was a bit lacking last year, so we're trying to update a little bit. I think it was last year, like towards the second half, we kind of stepped it up. But in the other stages definitely was a bit lacking, I'd say. And DT having 3 maps this around, or like just one more than other mod brackets, you do have the option to finally go for like some speedy ones that are then a streamy one, and then maybe aim and finger controller, just something whatever just floats your boat. But you always have like the core of just something which is fast, which is the essence of DT.
Go for some really old DT too. Some good patterns. Please put that in the pool. Old DT players exist. We exist.
Yeah.
I beg.
I mean, do you think you're going to be playing this one, Aza? No. Alright then.
I guess Aza isn't one of those guys who exist. Do you even exist, Aza?
I don't. Goodbye.
Okay. let me remove the 1 million points. 1 second.
So, as a update, we're wondering about this, but I just got my answer. If anyone's curious about the good old banners this year, I believe this is for the first time, as we now have around 32. There's actually 32 of them instead of only 16. So if you want to support a different, or rather a more diverse amount of countries, you now can. And they'll be up during this week, and any purchases made on those banners will actually go directly to support the World Cup map pool. So, yeah, banner's good. There's
World
the
Cup
plug.
map pool? That seems like...
I'm tired.
I mean, I'd love to get paid for this, man. I gotta be honest, I'm kind of sitting here. Just
Wait, you guys aren't getting
but-
paid?
Come on, Paulus.
That's where
Come
I'm
on,
getting
man.
paid in imaginary bucks from predicting
yeah.
DT2.
Those points, man, for everyone.
I miss Osu coins.
I get 4 pats on the back, imaginary virtual pats on the back every time I release a pull. So that's cool, I guess. Feel very wanted.
Definitely wondering if it's worth the Osu coins for my precious hours, but
You're right, actually. It's sometimes you think, is it truly worth it? But in the end, hopefully players have fun. And
I'm
we're
currently
gonna go
crying.
to Fremont. It's what a surprise! It is Yorushka, Yunagi, Bo, Hana, Manoi.
Oh, I like this.
It is not the other map set. It's the newer one. You know, it's sometimes a bit hard to maybe be able to differentiate both of these maps because they're literally mapped the same artist with a really similar song, the same BPM, in the same way. And here you go. This is one of those 2 map sets, I guess. You've probably seen the other map set in a lot of tournaments. Well, Psych, here's the newer one. This one being Fremont, yeah.
We're actually starting to see a lot more mapping like this, where it's very like, I guess anti-aim, like very like snappy, right?
I mean, dude,
And
it's only
been
Dallas,
very
to be
popular.
fair.
Yeah, Mirage a little bit, right? We see a lot of Dillis, we see a lot of Mirage, but like this type of mapping style is so good for tournaments, and especially for free mod, because I do want to mention again for players who, not players, but viewers who weren't here last week, free mod now requires one person to run hidden on its own and one person to run hard rock on its own, or is optionally with hidden. But basically, you need to split the mods, right? You can't just go 2 hard rocks. So the free mod pool, like the balancing that has been a bit easier for you guys, right? So
Right, yeah. We still are trying to have it as balanced as possible, mostly because it doesn't really change the other 3 players. You are able to pick maps which are more focused towards one single mod, so because the other team has to pick the disadvantaged mod. But you still can go 3 times hard rock on a map you don't want a hidden on, like I know Germany on like CS5 or Project Ignis, for example. But it definitely does make it a bit more balanced. You definitely need a team which has practiced or has versatile players in this case. And this map being 220 BPM, approach rate 9.0, so it's a 9.9 flat approach rate, and 220 BPM is quite a density. So hidden is, especially with the aim patterns you see, a bit tough. So I would actually reckon maybe most people going for hard rock, also because of the difficulty of the map itself.
I would agree.
You can go hidden hard rock on this quite easily. I can see the top teams just going maybe 3 or 4 times hidden hard rock, and I don't really see a huge issue there.
I mean, they cannot go.
As an extension of that rule,
right.
You cannot go with 4 hidden hard rocks anymore because you need one person to run the solo hidden.
Right, we do need one hidden guy, probably gonna be Toy or something on the US side perhaps. But yeah, mostly just fill out as much or as many hidden hard rocks as possible, especially on the earlier free mods. the later you go, the less hidden hard work, just, I guess, not really disrespect, but just, you know, confidence we'd see, and we'd most likely see the rule finally coming to fruition.
Yeah, one thing that I do want to mention about the rule in particular is that it obviously gives us a little bit more freedom in terms of what we can choose for free mods, because as Viva mentioned about the balancing, with the first couple of rounds you're going to see 2 free mods, and I think what we're aiming for is for both of them to be relatively balanced, but in the later rounds when you start seeing 3, you might get the unnecessary evil on either one and then a balanced map, but we're still not entirely sure, it's still in discussion. But yeah, getting into the next map, it is Mephisto. This is free mod 2. This has been seen previously, but this is a different diff. This is another free mod pick, which is Aeon 9. It is lower BPM, so the stream's only 170, but it's definitely going to be a little bit tricky for some people to do hidden on this one. Hard Rock is also going to be a pretty reasonable mod, nothing over the top. I think the main thing is definitely going to be the aim and the act challenge that comes with it, but as for hidden, you're going to have some basic density and a lot of trouble when it comes to following some of the streams, because they are not quite spaced, but they definitely, you know, take you on a wild ride.
You're also trying to get those Illumitos maps in there, trying to support my own countryman here, being biased. So funny enough, it was actually Silver who picked this one, and I guess Kano too. Like it was a like split decision.
It's always nice to have this type of map in.
Yeah, definitely around the same era as the Hard Rock 2 Dynasty.
Yeah, I think I remember the day this was ranked actually. It was a 2013 map, I believe.
Yep.
Or like really early 2014 maybe.
Yeah, somewhere around that, because 2013 was the first year we played Odyssey. And he wasn't really that like into mapping there back then. Well, he's not now anyways, because he doesn't really play us, but you know, you get the gist. At least he kept this map for us to play and to put in the tournament. And this is gonna be the last time you see it in the next 5 years.
So now only the tiebreaker remains, right?
Right.
Seeing the 2 free mod maps.
I mean, at this point, I already spoiled it to you, Asa. It was a whoopsie. Do not the big black is gonna come up.
The amount of times I've heard this joke.
I mean, we're boomers, right? We don't have boomer jokes.
Yeah. Alright. Oh, wait a minute. That's not Big Black.
Yeah, this is GMT versus Kosato. It's Squattatrice. Sky Stars Descent. And well, this one, I mean, it's a Sky Star map. It's overall pretty consistent. It has burst, aim. Aim patterns are definitely in the Sky Star era. They're pretty straightforward, but also not that comparable to today's meta, I guess. The ending has a bit of a harsh pattern, but should definitely be doable. It's a cool song. Not a lot more I can say, except Silver just choked Acros at the beginning. Good job.
Yeah, I must admit that it's getting kind of hard to find tiebreakers, especially tiebreakers which are ranked and are pretty much balanced or not focused around one specific skill set. This is probably the closest thing that we could find to something that would be relatively balanced. As Forz mentioned, there is a somewhat tricky section towards the end, but for most teams they should be fine, assuming that they have the aim capabilities for it. But overall, this map is fairly consistent. As you can see, a lot of triples and short bursts, a lot of stream patterns and whatnot, bit of aim here and there, some back and forth patterns. Not really much else to say. It is a very, very hype song without a doubt. So definitely going to be exciting to see teams get to tiebreakers. I'm sure there's going to be a few this year.
Yeah, you see some film control patterns, some longer bursts. There's not going to be any death streams in here. It's not going to be any 1-2 jumps in there, since it's an older map. It should be a fair mix of pretty much everything. So guys, since you've pretty much seen it all so far, and this story is definitely gonna pretty much just continue the way it is, maybe we might need to stop talking for a bit and just check out the ending. What do you think of the pool so far?
Decent anime ratio. That's all I care about.
Alright, yeah. I mean, this
It's
one
like
has an anime girl in the background, despite not really.
Oh,
being
that's
that much of an
okay
anime
though.
song.
That's okay. So it's all about the music choice.
Alright, I'll take it.
I gotta admit, Aza has been pretty quiet during this tiebreaker reveal, but I mean, it's for obvious reasons. He's not gonna be phased by this tiebreaker at all. He's not even gonna need to play it, right, Aza?
Yeah, I mean, just don't forget, this is his practice right now. That's why he signed up for the showcase, didn't he?
No, I am just very tired. If I'm completely honest with you.
How can you be tired? You just woke up, came to the showcase, and just started commenting. You didn't.
No,
work on any
you're mistaking
preparation.
me. You're mistaking
Oh,
me,
right.
man. It's 7:30 in the morning. Come on, I'm fresh. I'm
Imagine
awake.
You just woke
I'm
up,
ready.
you know.
Yeah, definitely just woke up.
I do like the pool though. All in all.
That is good news. At least one person is pleased.
All right.
Hopefully many more.
Yeah,
Well,
no, one person is enough.
I don't. Yeah, don't take what I say for granted, because usually what happens is, like, on the surface, it's nice, or like you know, as a third party, it's nice, but then you have to play it and practice it. Maybe sometimes that changes. So.
Yeah, I mean the reveal is like one of those expectation versus reality kind of situations where, you know, you see what you get, but then you actually play it and you're like, oh, this is what I got for Christmas, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it's just some coal. Oh God.
Just some gold, boys. Speaking of Christmas, that's right around the corner.
Right, and you can gift your own present to the O staff, or I mean to the OWC players, because if you buy banners, you're supporting your teams and the prize pool for the players. So if you wanna have an early Christmas gift for the players, feel free to get your own banner.
Imagine shouting out banners twice in 10 minutes.
You haven't seen me commentate, have you, Hazer? Because if you haven't seen me, I was wearing pretty cool peppy pants, and you can get them too if you subscribe to the Twitch channel.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can actually build a full Peppy. I haven't seen that one in a while. But that is all there is to see for the map pool this week. So yeah, pretty good choice of music.
I hope it's also fun to play. That's also something which should be up there.
Yeah, I can't quite comment on that so far, as I have not played it, but yeah. Should have some pretty interesting matches this round of 32. I think that's about it. I think we can wrap things up.
I mean, we could mention the matchups while we're at it. Like, it should take like 5 minutes, because I don't think we mentioned them before. We mentioned a couple which were like notable.
Right, yeah, bracket reveal.
Yeah, I mean, most notably, I think, has already been mentioned, probably Sweden versus France in a super early round of 32. And with how well Sweden played early on, yeah, that's kind of scary for France, honestly. Especially when they're like looking to like prove themselves that they are better than a group stage team, and they have quite a hard opponent to do that on, in my opinion.
Definitely going to be a rough matchup, that's for sure. Further down the list, we have Australia versus Finland as well. Going to be interesting to see how that one does turn out, because Finland is a pretty scary early game team, and I wouldn't say Australia is the strongest early game team, but they definitely should be able to make it through.
For me, there are two matchups in particular that really stand out and are games that you will not want to miss. That is Hong Kong versus Norway, which is somehow a round of 32 matchup. Two easily top 8 contending teams matching in round of 32. This could be quite the match to watch. We're gonna see a lot of close games in that, hopefully. And on top of that, Romania versus Japan, which is also somehow a round of 32. Again, we'll say it one more time. Romania, the team last year that did take out Poland in groups, and they're definitely upgraded from last year. and Japan, which ended up top 6 last year. So, you know, that's a very, very hard round of 32 matchup. Other than that, yeah, I don't know if there's any other matchups you guys want to point out, but I think for me, those are the 3 most hype ones, easily.
Indonesia, Italy, for sure. In my opinion, that's gonna be very good.
Yeah, actually, yeah, go on.
There are some matchups which definitely can be a lot closer. Italy, Indonesia, obviously, a bunch of carries facing each other. I think most of the matches actually might be closer because the pool is a bit easier. So some of the lower seeded teams might actually have a few more chances against the higher seeded teams. But if the seeding difference is way too high, it's gonna be a bit tough trying to compensate that. But I think like just having like a seed difference of 10, like Austria versus Russia, could also definitely be a bit interesting, even though obviously Russia is favored. I think most of them actually could be pretty close due to the pool being a bit easier.
Well, if that's it, before closing up, I'll let everybody know, as always, all the information should be uploaded on the wiki soon. Most likely tonight, if not, it will be with the schedules for the round of 32, with the results for the qualifiers. Pretty much every single bit of information you would like to see, it will be there. And of course, give a huge shout out to the referees of this tournament. They have been having the best availabilities to support the teams, like the time the teams wanted to play. We made our best efforts to assure that they played on times that were good for them, and I think for the most part it ended up working well. So big shout outs for them for being available.
And thank you to Yu Huan for actually waking up really early and starting work on this and working and coordinating a bunch of the things, because today was definitely a stressful day, I would imagine, for pretty much all of the ref and ODMC host teams.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, it was worth. I think it was worth the effort. Hopefully people enjoyed it, and I'm sure some did, so that's always good. That's always motivating. But yeah, thank you guys as well for commentating, Acer, Kano, and OMG4. Or Force, I guess.
As always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. That's my line.
Hey.
It's always a pleasure. Now it's my line. I
all
took
about
this.
lines.
It's mine.
Anyway,
It's a pleasure on behalf of all of us.
There you
Right.
go. Thanks for joining us, guys. And we'll see you guys next weekend with some round of 32 matches.